Okay, so today we're talking about dysfunctional
Mhm.
family
Yeah.
roles. And I don't know how familiar people are with these. Do you feel I feel like they use the language, but they don't know to which it's referring. Like when people
Yes.
use like scapegoat
Mhm.
or like the enabler
Yep.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
I don't even think that when I was in grad school studying it, we had to take back then it was called family systems theory. I think they've changed it since then. But I was even surprised, like when you were first told that like when you work with a family in counseling and whoever they're deciding the black sheep typically is, because
Mhm.
usually in a dysfunctional family, what brings them into therapy is like one person they collectively feels like driving the family into.
They call that the identified patient.
Yes. And so, AKA the black sheep, one of the first things they taught you in family counseling was don't fall for that. Like the black sheep is never the problem. It is a culmination of the dysfunction of the family and the roles that each person plays that has to do with the creation of the black sheep. So I thought that was so interesting when I learned that.
Okay, so what would you say your dysfunctional family role was slash is?
We talked before about the like birth order and like where you
I feel
were.
like ours are probably the same.
Yeah. And I'm the middle child,
Same.
which I think I play through
Same.
all the way, right?
Mm.
And there's some variables in my family that are different, right? Because I have brothers and there's no other female sisters, just me and my mom are the only
That's
females.
what I had 2 brothers
Yeah.
originally. So
So it's, that I think that role kind of hits a little different too when you don't have another like female sibling.
100%. Yep.
So I ride that kind of middle person role, and the vibe of the household is where my threshold always is, right? So trying to never be the person that tilts it to one side or the other and
Yep.
just tries to ride like that middle wave and
Yeah.
can we all just get along? Can we all just be happy? Like that is my role till the end. No mystery for how we ended up in the professions that we're in
Yeah, no, that's not shocking at
at
all.
all.
Yeah. I think most people actually don't even know how you and I know each other.
I don't think any I thought about that the other day.
Mhm.
I was like, we never talk about, in fact, that's probably the least interesting thing that we talk,
It's either the least or the most. I
right?
don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
I don't even know, but yeah, that's so funny.
Yes.
We've
Should we
never
tell
said that.
yeah, should
Yeah,
we tell
yeah,
people?
yeah,
Yes. Nina is actually my sister-in-law.
yeah.
I am married to Nina's
Yeah.
younger brother.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I've been blessed in the sister-in-law department, I must say.
So true. Yes. Our
It's
other
true.
sister-in-law, she's
Amy's
great.
amazing.
Yeah, shout out to Amy. We know you listen to the
I
podcast.
know.
Yay to you. Yay
But
to
yeah,
you.
I have won the lottery in that respect.
Yeah. So not surprising. People may or may not be surprised by that fact. So it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see what people
Maybe
say.
if you're thinking about karmic blessings, like I didn't have sisters.
Yes.
I won
Oh
the
my
lottery in
gosh.
sister-in-laws, right? Because
That's
I'm always
such a
trying to
good
find the
point.
positive. Like I
Yes.
think, yeah, yeah, that's
Girl.
how I look at it.
Love that. Okay, so yeah, I think of myself dysfunctional family role, same thing. So, I have 2 younger half siblings. I don't ever call them that. I call them my siblings, but significant age gap. There's like a 10-year age gap.
Yeah.
So, originally it was me and I have an older brother and younger brother,
Mhm.
and it was just for quite some time. So, I absolutely took on the role of it's called the hero.
Mhm.
So, the hero is the one that's like the face of the family that presents to the family, like the family is falling apart behind the curtain,
Mhm.
but you are the face of the family where you're stable and you're doing the
But
good
would you
thing.
ever identify it as that like label? Like even that label, I can't even say like the
That I
hero of
was,
like that. Just I don't know. That whole title makes me.
ooh, say more, say
Yeah,
more,
I don't like it.
say more.
I don't know, but I'm like I don't like the like. I think sometimes
Wait,
that
because you don't think you were the hero of the family?
I definitely don't think I'm a hero
Girl,
of a
you are 100,
family.
you are the hero of the family.
I don't think so.
You,
But even
what?
the
Yes,
no,
you are the glue are you,
what? No.
girl? Maybe we'll do a call in with
Yeah.
Amy. We'll have Amy weigh in on this, but you are the glue that holds us together. That is 100% yes. You
Like,
won't say it? Okay, but I will
but
say
maybe
it.
it's the identity of like the spotlight. 'Cause how do you feel about the
Oh, I hate
spotlight?
the
And
spotlight.
see,
Hate it.
that's what I mean. And when
No,
you
no,
say
no.
the word hero, you're kind of
So
like,
the hero doesn't want to be the hero. They're put in that role because someone else is more dysfunctional than you. So
okay,
your job is to keep things steady.
okay,
Your
okay, that
job
I
is to
get.
keep things steady. And you do that. And because there is such large dysfunction elsewhere, that's what
Mhm.
was going on in my family
Right,
too, that you didn't have to do a lot to look steady. Like,
right. I would agree with that.
just keep
Right,
your grades pretty above,
right.
like, don't get in trouble at school, don't have behavioral outbursts. Like, that's really all you had to do. You just had to keep things steady.
Yes.
You keep things steady. And that's kind of what the hero does. And it looks like the hero because in comparison to other stuff, it's like, whoo, look at this one, this
Right.
golden child. You're like, no, I'm not. Like, right. But you don't,
Mhm.
nobody wants to be these roles, by the
No.
way.
No.
No one is like, I will choose this one,
Mhm.
right? It just kind of happens as a result of other formations and other people taking
In the
on.
family system, yeah.
Yes, yes. And so when one role in the family system changes, it ripples
It does.
and the others change as well.
And they either get magnified or they have to take on different roles. So it's very interesting. Either your role can get bigger because other people have maneuvered the shell game and it's changed around, or you're taking on other functions as the role, or you become depleted a bit. And so, yeah, the ripple effect is a real thing.
So I'll tell you what's on the outside for the hero, and then you can tell me I'm wrong about applying it to you.
Okay.
Tries to be perfect, doesn't want to be wrong, gets positive attention and degrees. How many degrees do you have, Nina?
I mean, but
How many do you have?
I do. I only have two. I have
Okay,
two.
I also have
Yeah, I
2.
only have two.
I would have 80 if I
Me
could.
too. Me too.
Yeah, see?
Seriously, I would. I would keep
What
going.
you don't see, fear of failing, over controlled. Yes and yes for myself. I can say those 2 are very true for
Wait,
me.
so go through that one again for me.
Fear of failing, so you externally it can look like overly controlled.
Okay.
I am
Okay.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
I I feel that way. Doesn't mean I act on it.
Right,
We're in better
right,
places,
right,
right?
right, right.
I don't externally overly control anymore because we've done some healing, but
Mm,
I still the feeling
the
and the
feeling to
instinct and
yeah.
like the, kind of impulse to do that is ooh,
Yeah. I
very much there.
yes.
Very much there. And we
Yes.
have to hold ourselves back.
Right.
We're like a couple of wild Mustangs over here,
Honestly,
just
just
like
pull back
chomping
on
at the
those
bit,
reins.
chomping at the bit. Yeah, what they do for the family and why they play along. Family feels we are not so bad because this person is good. It's said without help, this person can overwork, have
Mhm,
physical illness, and you can become achievement oriented versus success. And we talked about that before,
mhm.
where it's like celebrating the effort, not the outcome.
Right.
So that's the hero. Okay, so let's talk about the scapegoat.
Okay. That's my
I
favorite this is
Yeah,
my
I will
favorite
not
part
call
to
them
talk
out,
about.
but so I am now a family. I have 5 siblings, right?
Yeah.
I absolutely can identify who in my family is the scapegoat.
Okay.
I don't think he is anymore,
Okay.
but definitely was.
Okay.
There might have been 2 bad, angry, impulsive, black sheep of the family.
Mm,
What you don't see is they feel hurt, rejected, full of shame, like a loser. Okay, so what they do for the family, what role they play for the family gets to rally around the scapegoat,
mhm.
which can also be the identified patient,
Right.
because we rally around to fix
Right.
them. And everybody else in the family, we get to avoid our own shit, dealing with our own shit because we're so busy helping you, the
Right.
scapegoat who's bad and wounded and needs our help.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So with that help, here's what's very possible. Addiction, trouble with the law, chip on shoulder, continuing to play the role in jobs and future relationships, constantly feels like they're wrong.
I think that the scapegoat, the reason that it is such a powerful piece to the puzzle of the family dynamics is because of the attention that it gets, right?
Yes.
And the part that we can't deny, which is the part that you spoke on, is in hyper focusing on this particular family member, we then can not notice our roles in it.
Hmm.
So it's very easy to be like, I didn't contribute to this dysfunction because so and so is so
Hmm.
over the top with
Hmm.
their attitude or their anger or their rage or their this or their that.
Hmm.
So whatever culmination or parts of it led up to rage baiting that particular person or that particular person acting a certain way
Hmm.
doesn't matter. Right. And
Hmm.
so the family kind of gets off scot free about owning their particular parts to the
Yep.
equation
Yep.
because we can just focus on the overreactor, which is the scapegoat.
Yeah, and that's why it's really, really important, right? One of the things that mentioned is addiction is very, very common,
Hmm.
especially when it talks about like they're always in trouble, the
Hmm.
law, all
Yeah.
of those things, right? Can kind of like be part and parcel of themselves. But that's why when you have someone maybe that is struggling with addiction,
Hmm.
whatever it is, that you're encouraged to attend a 12-step meeting that
Yes.
addresses your own piece in it. And
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of times, what those programs are kind of looking at, the behaviors that they address are behaviors that have to do with these dysfunctional family
Hmm.
roles,
Yeah.
enabling, being the hero, etc. And we'll talk about the enabler next. But that's why that piece is so important, so that you don't lose focus on what was my role in this.
Hmm.
Because it's very easy to be like, it's all 100% this other person. And it's like, yo, they didn't
Hmm.
get there on their own,
Yeah.
right? That person didn't get there on their own. They
Hmm.
needed somebody that was enabling, or they needed many someones that were enabling. And right, if we're in the family, we were
Hmm.
probably one of those someones at
Yes.
some point. We definitely did that. Not because we don't care, but because we didn't know and we called it love, and that's not what it
Yeah.
is.
One of the things that I think is so important when you do any type of family work,
Mm.
and I just did this myself, like probably about a month ago. I was talking to my husband about something and I was like checking in with my role in something that was going on in the family. And I was like, I think I might have contributed to this particular thing working out the way that it did. And you have to
So
do that.
proud of you.
You have to do that because and I was saying to him, like, I think this is my pattern and like this is what I think I do in this situation. And I was kind of
You're
very
so
well,
self-aware.
I was kind of very upset about the way that I was like the pattern in which I saw. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I totally get it. Like it is, that is your pattern, that is your role, that's what you were doing. Is it, he was kind enough to say, I don't think it would have made a difference had you done it either way. But yes, that's what you do in that situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't necessarily can't always change it. You can't always change your role or change what you're doing, but you have to acknowledge that the reaction somebody's giving you then is part and parcel to what you're putting into it. And if you want it to change, you can't control somebody else's reaction, but if you want the system to change,
Mhm.
then the only part you can focus on is your part in the system.
Yeah, and I think actually you can, I think if the goal is to change your role, I think that's you're kind of missing the
Yeah.
point. I think
Hmm.
that's oversimplifying it
Yeah.
because you can always change your behavior
And
and
your reactions to
and
things.
the effort of
Hmm.
like I don't know what outcome this is going to have, but the thing you can always change, right? And if you think about kind of how change occurs and the stages of change, but the first thing and it goes consecutively, but the first thing that needs to happen is awareness.
Correct.
It so one of the things you can always change is I am now aware,
Right.
which is exactly what you
This is
described.
what I
Even if
think
you
I do.
do nothing
Hmm.
different, you know
Right.
what you did change? Your awareness
Right.
of it, right? So it goes awareness, acceptance,
Hmm.
change.
Yeah.
So I go, I'm aware of it now. I accept it
I
now,
accept
and
this
then
is what I do.
change is
Mhm.
possible. Okay, so the next one, this one's interesting. The lost child. I can actually very much identify who this is in my family as
Okay.
well. I think there also might be two of these.
You got a lot of people.
Well, because it's kind of there were 2 kind of different generations, if you will, within our
Uh-huh.
family, right? Because there's like that 10-year gap.
Yeah.
So it's like the 3 of us, and then again, the larger, the 5 of us. Because it's interesting. So my youngest brother, it's the same age difference between my youngest brother that it is my son and my youngest brother. So they're
Oh, okay.
more like
Yeah.
siblings. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Okay, so the lost child is on the outside, ignored, quiet, invisible, loves animals, artistic, sometimes has learning disabilities.
Okay.
What you don't see, frozen feelings, can't express feelings, lonely. What they do for the family feels, at least we don't have to worry about that kid. And you've always heard stories where there's some family that was like, yeah, we left Bobby behind when we stopped at, Wawa one
Mhm.
time. We totally forgot him. We
Right.
left him there. He was traumatized. It's like, Bobby's there with his hoagie. Like,
He's
where
like,
is
"Where'd everybody
everybody?
go?"
Yeah. And they're like, oh my God, we didn't even know he wasn't in the
Uh-huh.
car, right?
Yep.
Because he's so quiet. That is
Mhm.
literally a story I've heard in my
Oh,
personal
yeah.
and professional life
Absolutely.
that like some kid got left behind
Mhm. Yeah.
and we didn't realize it. We're like 5 miles down the road. Damn.
We gotta go back.
I knew I didn't smell tuna fish. He's the only one that gets that damn tuna fish hoagie. It's the only way we know he's here. Um, okay, without help, they don't share their opinions, don't feel that they're needed. So with help, they can become talented, creative, learn to participate, share wisdom. And this is usually someone that operates more as an observer.
Okay.
And I think that was me. I definitely had traits of that where
Okay.
people would be like, she's a bitch. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like actually like incredibly shy. And my role in any situation is like I need to get the emotional temperature of the room.
Right.
And I can only do that if I go in and observe
Yes.
and shut my mouth and listen. Because I
Sidebar.
can't do that.
Do you think that the introvert part makes us look like bitchy?
1000%.
Like,
Yes. I get people say that all the time that are
yes, and
introverted.
I really
People
notice
think
it
you're stuck
too.
up. People think you're a
Yes.
bitch. And I'm like,
I was at my son's soccer game the other day and I was like sitting on the sidelines and I was like, I am definitely not as social as all the other people here. And like we're mid season. So people know each other pretty well now. But I literally was like, I think these people might, and I think these other women might think I'm a little bit like stuck up, like bitchy. Because I think that introvert part makes us look very standoffish and very kind of like almost like you don't need to talk to people. Like you're like, yeah,
yes, you think you're better than me, and you're like,
yes.
"No, I'm in here just, like, in my own world because that's where it's safe, and if I talk, I'm gonna, like energy is just gonna, like, drain out of
Yeah,
me."
and I'm like you said about the emotional temperature, I'm taking mental notes. I'm like, "Okay, those people are sitting next to each other. I think they know each other pretty well." So I'm like, not gonna go sit like break up that little group, you know? So then I'm like, maybe I'll just stand over here by myself. But then I'm taking mental notes. I'm like, well, I'm standing here by myself. I'm sure everybody's like, what is this woman doing? She can't
Mhm.
even come and sit with everybody. Like all those thoughts are going into my head about like how
Yep.
I look in
Yep.
terms of the introversion part, and I'm like, I think it just makes us look extra bitchy.
But I think also when you are an introvert, I think one of the things, because you are so kind of in tune with your internal world, I
Mhm.
think you operate on like a at a different depth. And I don't mean that like surface depth is less than a
Mhm.
deeper depth. But and like you've said this to me, and like my brother has said this to me too. Like I am a very like deep person, like the
Mhm.
stuff I talk about. And I was talking to my dad about this, and I was like, I don't know how to do small talk. Like I can't, I don't know how to do it. It is
You're
really
like,
weird. And he
you
was
told me
like,
it was, like, grating you. You're like,
yeah, and my dad was like, "Me too." And, my dad's a pastor and, I'm a therapist. So at work, it's easy because all day long,
"It's
I just
deep.
talk about deep stuff and
It's
I'm like,
deep."
"This is my default." So it's super easy. If you put me at like a Christmas cookie exchange party, I'm like,
I
I don't know what
know.
to say. How about these cookies?
I
Like, you
know.
bake a lot? I don't know, fucking know. Like,
They're nuts in
um,
these.
yeah. Any allergies I need to be aware of? Okay. No, we're not asking that
Don't eat that.
anymore. Okay. Okay. So another dysfunctional family role, we've got two more. One is the clown or the mascot. So that's somebody that is funny, hysterical,
Mhm.
anything for a laugh,
Mhm.
or immature, hides pain with humor, scared, feels inadequate.
'Kay.
They bring comic relief to the family, helps the family avoid issues.
I think I did a little bit of that when I was younger, and I think
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, not so much now because the clown part, but, like,
that is not true.
before, when I was younger, I the theatrics that would just take everybody's mind off of anything
Oh,
else,
yeah, I think I could
I
do
think
that. Yeah.
that was a big part of
Oh, yeah.
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 I I
Like,
I
she's
got
a
down with
lot.
that,
Like,
yeah.
people say that's like,
Yeah,
she's
like,
a
I
lot.
was always very theatrical, and everything that was going on was, like, the biggest thing ever, and,
Mhm. You do, you get excited about
yeah,
everything. I love that.
it's
I love that for you and for me, because 'cause
I
I'm
know.
still here like, "Any allergies?" You're like, "We're not talking about that anymore." I'm like, "Oh, we moved on.
My
Okay."
kids even sometime I've told you once before I had a patient, I brought her into the waiting room, we came back. I said, "Hi, my name's Nina, it's so nice to meet you." We talked for about 60 seconds, and she was like, "This is not gonna work." And I was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Okay." And she goes, "You're just a little too much for me." And I was like, "You know what? Good for you for knowing that." I'm like, "That's really okay. I'm not for everybody." She's like, "I just need somebody who's, like, a little bit
Less.
less." I was like, "Totally understand, and I appreciate that." But I was like, "Good for you. At least you're like, I know what I need." But yeah, I'm like a excitable person. I am.
You are. I think it's great. Without help, what can happen to the mascot or the clown is they continue to build up pain, let others tell them what to do too much until they act out,
Okay.
can be a follower and doesn't grow up.
Okay.
What can happen with help is they can feel a full range of feelings, learn how to use laughter like when appropriate and not as a defense mechanism.
Mhm.
And we talk about this a lot with
Yeah.
things is, um, a lot of IFS, internal family systems
Mhm.
work and parts work really has to do with kind of coping skills that don't work anymore. So like these coping
Mhm.
skills worked really well in our childhood. And I think the other thing that happens in dysfunctional family systems is you can adopt if someone was the scapegoat and then they're not, as we said, it kind of ripple effects. And that's why like I can look at these and say, oh, I've done some of that one, I've done
Yes.
some of that one, even though
Mhm.
primarily I might identify as this.
Mhm.
Oh, I can see areas or times in my life when I did this.
Yeah.
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 So the other one is, last but not least, the caretaker enabler. Would you like to talk about that one?
Well, that one is, actually, I think, hard for some people to identify with
Hmm.
because everybody at some point feels you have been a caretaker, right?
Yep.
Everybody at some point is like, I've jumped in, I've helped this person, that person in the family. And so everybody feels like a bit of a caretaker.
Yep.
That part is a little bit understandable, but there's this codependency part.
Yep.
And that's the part that you really have to be aware of. Is your role, the word that flashes in my mind is like, is your role keeping someone sick? Because if there is an issue that somebody has, it's identified, you know it's there, and you've been a part of their care team for a while and nothing's progressing. I beg of you to think about your role in it. Am I actually helping them? If the person is still struggling with something, let's say it's addiction because it's just easier for people to understand addiction versus mental health and codependency issues. But if somebody is still struggling with addiction and you're somebody you're like, man, I bail them out of jail and I give them a place to stay and I help
Mhm.
them
I
out every
pay for their
time. Yes.
attorney. Yep.
But this has been going on for years. You're part of the cycle.
Yep.
You're part of the illness. You are
Yeah.
part of everything staying the same.
Yeah. And a lot of it is because we love these people and we call that love,
Mhm.
right? And
Yes.
and
Support.
it's
We call it support.
yep.
And with families, it can be very difficult because you're like, I'm family. I'm
Mhm.
ride and die, like, whatever they
This is
need.
what we do.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't turn our backs on,
Yeah.
but the person you're turning your back on is yourself. The person you need to caretake is yourself. And that's kind of why we talked about this, like identifying like what is my piece in this. So it's not identifying just here are the things I did that were shitty and contributed to
Mhm.
this, but also, okay, in what ways can I start now caretaking myself?
Sure.
Like, what does that look like? And that is healing in itself because you're spending so much time working on yourself. You are giving that person, and this is said a lot, but like allow people the dignity of their failure.
Yes.
Allow it. Like, stop getting in between people and their consequences.
Mhm.
Like, don't do
Yes.
that anymore
Yeah.
because it's not helping them and it's not helping you.
And I think when you think about the family too, like the family as a unit, a lot of times we'll talk about in marriage counseling, when you go to a marriage counselor, the relationship is their client. Right? So if we went to marriage counseling, we are not the individual client of that particular marriage therapist.
The
The
relationship
relationship,
is.
our
Yep.
marriage or our relationship is their client. And in family systems, the family is the client, right?
Yep.
So when your role is to keep putting off consequences to somebody or getting in the middle of them, finding the need to get healthy because you think you're helping, that is disturbing the family as a whole, right?
Hmm.
That is a problem that is a crux in the whole system of why it's not a healthy family. And so everybody has a part in that. And I think that's the biggest thing to understand about family
Hmm.
counseling and family systems is
Hmm.
everyone has a role, which we're talking about, but nobody is responsible for what's happening. There's not one person who is the downfall of the family. It is
Yep.
everybody's role and reaction
Hmm.
to the way the family is running. And you have to change the way the family is running. And each person has a part in that.
So that's why, like, so often you can, find happiness, find joy, you can laugh again while maybe the person who is struggling is still
Still
struggling.
struggling.
Like, those two things can be true at the
Yeah.
same time. And that's the hope is that, like, when the family has that, like, awareness,
Hmm.
acceptance, change can happen and change will happen for the family, even if that person stays stuck. You don't have to stay stuck with
Right.
them.
We'll go back to Uncle Larry because we used him in one of our
Oh,
other
Uncle
episodes.
Larry,
Uncle Larry
love
is a hot
him.
mess during the
Yeah.
holidays.
Yeah.
But if you have bailed Uncle Larry out of jail for 6 DUIs now, you've picked him up when he's called, you picked him up after his jail sentence is over.
Mm.
You have to look at your role in Uncle Larry's drinking, in his
How
addiction.
much do I want to participate?
Yeah.
Right?
In his addiction, you are part of his story.
Yeah.
You are the person that he falls back to, who gets him out. Sometimes people talk about it with pride, like, yeah, I get him every time he needs me. And I get that's not the role you think it is.
Nope.
That is part of the system failing in the
Mhm.
family. And it's not the heroic role you think it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the heroic role is learning to take care of ourselves, to pick
Mhm.
up only what is ours and, like, deal with what's in our lane.
Mhm.
Like, that's what it is.
And your role then becomes with Larry. Larry, I love you. Larry, I want you to get help. Larry, I want you to stay alive. Larry, I don't want you to hurt anybody on the road. So I can't keep picking you up because I think I'm part of you repeating this pattern.
"Larry, I'm hanging up the cape.
Larry, you
You
can't.
gotta put it on yourself. You
I'm
gotta
not
save
your call
yourself."
next time, Larry. Unless
No,
you want me to take you to rehab, Larry,
that's the only call I'm picking up,
I'm
Larry.
not your call. Yeah, but
Yeah.
but you change your role and then you find that the system changes.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep. So change can happen.
change can happen.
Change
Even
is
in
possible.
families, small families, big families, change can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, everybody's got like a dysfunctional, it's kind of like when I would do this in group, I
Yeah.
would do like set up a panel
Mhm.
and I would pretend I was Jerry Springer. I'd be like, welcome to the Jerry Springer
Yep.
show.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody would play a role. And
Uh-huh.
then they had to, people in the group had to guess who was which role by
Nice.
how it was acted. I was
Oh,
great. Loved it. I would use a marker. I'd be like, ma'am. So what you're saying is
the paternity test came back. I think
you
it
were
is.
100% the enabler. So, yeah, something just to be aware of. It might be something that's interesting and observation that you don't have to do anything with, but as you are around family around
Mhm.
the holidays, if you are around family, just kind of noticing like, hey, maybe I might be one of these or this might
What's
be
my
going
role?
on. Yeah. And just like, yeah, cultivating some awareness. Right. So until next time, stay nearly normal.